Hi there. Thanks for coming to the channel today. Mr. Sean here, letting you know that we now offer channel memberships as well as the ability to leave a tip. Your support is vital to the continued success and growth of this channel. You can also support the channel by joining the Patreon, buying a mini, or just being sure to tune in and like, comment, and subscribe. Enjoy the video.
The topic of lost media is all the rage these days. But while everyone and their brother searches for well-known pieces like Saki Sanabashi, Slamfest 99, and old episodes of Doctor Who, there are hundreds, if not thousands of pieces that no one is looking for. These are those pieces. This is lesser-known lost media.
Miska Muska Monkskatir, Mr. Sean Time now is here. Welcome back, everybody, to Chimera Miniatures. I am, of course, your host, Mr. Sean, and this is a special edition of Lesser Known Lost Media. Now, if you've not joined us before, typically the way this series works is I cover 5 pieces of lesser known lost media, media that you don't hear about on a lot of the other lost media channels that I want to bring attention to. We start with 4 pieces of family-friendly, safe-for-work lost media and end with 1 piece of not safe for work. Now, the goal of lost media is always to eventually make it become found media. I have not really covered found media on my channel. A few pieces that I have covered in the past have since been found, but I have not made a video dedicated to pieces of found lost media. But even less covered than that are the pieces that are then proven not to have existed. The internet is a strange place full of rumors, misinformation, and sometimes people just make stuff up. So I wanted to do something kind of different for this episode, and I went looking for pieces of lost media that have been confirmed not to exist. And when I went looking, there were a lot of very interesting video games that actually don't exist. So today on volume 29 of Lesser Known Lost Media, we will be covering 5 pieces of non-existent video game lost media. And yes, there even will be a not safe for work piece at the end. So with all that being said, let's get started. At number 1, we have Capital Punishment, a non-existent build of a cancelled PC action game from 1994. Capital Punishment is a cancelled video game project by famed programmer Al Lowe, who created the Leisure Suit Larry series. It would have been published by Sierra and released for the PC by the end of 1994. It was meant to be an action game, where the player would play as both Bill and Hillary Clinton riding in a canoe on a long river while avoiding many obstacles and enemies, usually based on rival politicians, and the gameplay would involve various politics-related satirical imagery. Al Lowe canceled the game when he realized his idea looked better on paper than in execution, and due to technical limitations after getting so many elements together, the game would be bogged down terribly. Besides screenshots for the game, according to Al Lowe, through way of emails, there are no builds to Capital Punishment. Lowe stated that the name never got to the prototype stage in development and has since sold animation cells for the game on eBay. I mean, I feel like political satire in the 90s was just a little bit more good-natured than it is now. Politics has gotten really toxic, and I mean, it always kind of has been, but I feel like up to the 90s there was at least civil discourse. I think this would have been a very tongue-in-cheek game had it gotten made, but I feel like the ultimate reason it didn't get made was not because of technical limitations, but it just would not have had a lot of people who this game would have been targeted at. Really, it would have been like my parents' age at the time who didn't play computer games. But hey, points for trying. Next up, we have Barbie Treasures in Time / Time Traveler, a non-existent build of a GameCube / PlayStation 2 video game from 2002. I mean, you know, certainly Barbie Mania is in full force today with that movie that recently came out. I did watch it. It wasn't like life-shattering, but I enjoyed it. But I remember back in the early 2000s, so many Barbie games and movies. My sister's favorite was Barbie Writing Club. But Barbie Treasures in Time / Time Traveler is a cancelled sequel to Barbie Explorer for the Nintendo GameCube and PlayStation 2. This game has been developed by Runecraft and never even had an alpha build, as proven by one of the game's programmers, Simeon Pashley, and published by Vivendi Games itself. Sorry, that copy was written a little weird. In Barbie Treasures in Time, Barbie goes on a time-traveling trip to find lost treasures. Within the game, you visit lagoons, ancient cities, shipwrecks, secret caves, a castle in a medieval world, futuristic gardens, lush forests, and a futuristic theme park. On your way, you obtain so-called magic items to unlock new movements like rolling, diving, and jumping, which helps you move over obstacles. The game has 2 working titles. Barbie Time Traveler was the title for the PlayStation 2 release. Barbie Treasures in Time was the name for the GameCube release. Now, on the 3rd of December 2002, an Amazon account named DeRosette Myers posted a 5-star review showing excitement about the game, while also showing doubt that this game will ever be released. And on the 31st of August 2003, another Amazon user named Valeria Gonzalez account made a review on the game's page looking for the game. I don't fully understand what that means. Like, how could you make reviews for the game that hasn't come out yet? Claiming that they tried to visit the Toys R Us to no avail, with Toys R Us claiming that they had this game on store shelves a long time ago, but not anymore. Valeria ends the review by asking for resellers of the game to contact them. On the 10th of May 2019, a Twitter account named The One and Only Cap replied with a poll to a tweet saying, "Only if you can prove you're a real gay mergirl pop quiz, have your 100%ed Barbie Treasures in Time for the Nintendo GameCube," with the answers yes and not a gamer. Gamer with a G-A-Y-M-E-R. The Twitter account Pinky Noise replied to said tweet on the 26th of June 2022 with the text, "Do you have the game?" Unfortunately, the protagonist has not interacted with the reply and still has their direct messages on Twitter closed. I am so confused right now. On the 2nd of April 2021, a vConcatK, whatever that is, user named, nope, not even going to try, that's some weird thing of like sigils, shared 2 more screenshots of the game from a website cubeeurope.com. On the 26th of June 2022, a Barbie video game speedrunner nicknamed Pinky Noise found a LinkedIn account of the senior producer of Vivendi Games, the game's publisher. On the 27th of June 2022, a Barbie video game speedrunner named Potchblank found a cover of an instructional booklet for the game, which further shows evidence that the name Barbie Time Traveler is possibly the name of the game for the PS2 release. Also, on the 27th of June 2022, another speedrunner nicknamed Soul Closet sent out a message to the senior producer's LinkedIn, which unfortunately has been ignored by the senior producer. Even though they have been active on the account, the message has been ignored. Now, moving ahead to the 30th of August 2022, speedrunner Pinky Noise found a LinkedIn account of the concept work creator for this game, who is also included in their work description, including Premier Manager 2002 and Barbie Treasures in Time for PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, revealing an intended Xbox release. Also on the same date, on the French website sincecritique.com, Pinky Noise discovered a comment from user Lulu654 on a Barbie Time Traveler forum that states, an attribute 6 out of 10 a jeu Barbie Time Traveler, which translates to rated 6 out of 10 to the Barbie Time Traveler game. Then, on the 2nd of December, a discovery was made by Barbie video game speedrunner Matthew Wayness0, and he discovered a blog post of a RuneCraft programmer at the time, Simeon Poshley, which states that he worked on a PS2 platformer game during that period. After thorough checking, the only game developed by RuneCraft at that time was Barbie Time Traveler. Also on the same day, in the same post, Matthew discovered that RuneCraft stopped existing due to lying to publishers like Vivendi, possibly making the actual description of the game inaccurate. And now we come to the 7th of December, and the game's supposed lead programmer, Simeon Poshley, has been contacted by Pinky Noise and claimed that RuneCraft was objectively a lazy company that people only worked for because of high pay. This was one of the major reasons RuneCraft fell to its demise. He also noted that all the files of Barbie Treasures in Time were lost after one of the 2 RuneCraft studios in Leeds was closed down. In the same email, Simeon said the game was nowhere near finished, not even at alpha stage, proving that there was never even a functional build. Woo! What a ride! I mean, ultimately, there's been a lot of kids' Barbie media in the form of video games and movies, and most of them are absolutely terrible. But I think the interesting thing behind this story is just the amount of effort that went into possibly figuring out whatever happened to this game, and that ultimately it was just discovered that, yeah, we just kind of dicked around and never really got anywhere with it. Kind of an anticlimactic ending, but wow, that was an awful lot going into that search. Guess I'll just have to make do with Barbie Writing Club. At number 3, we have Sonic 16, which is a non-existent build of an unreleased Sega Genesis/Mega Drive game based on the Sonic the Hedgehog animated series 1993. So, these days you probably associate Sonic the Hedgehog with two things. One, a series of now lackluster games, and furries. But once upon a time, Sonic was a real contender for, like a real rival to Mario for, most popular video game character. So much so that he had not one, but 2 TV shows, both made by Deke Entertainment, that were running at the same time. And while they were very different shows, Sonic was voiced in both of them by Jaleel White, who you may know as Urkel from Family Matters. And I remember kid me being a little kid at the time, because these both premiered in September of 1993. The show that was, actually more or less what the characters of that show are what the game Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine are based off of, is by far the less cool show. That was called The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. That was the first one. We then also got one called just Sonic the Hedgehog, and this is the one that was like, Dr. Robotnik has taken over, he's an evil despot, Sonic and his animal friends in the underground are fighting to take him down and free their friends who have been turned into, basically animal cyborgs. I didn't realize they were 2 different shows. I just thought certain episodes were a lot better than others. And while the characters and villains from The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog have showed up in other early games, like I said, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine definitely had you going up against these specific robots that Dr. Robotnik had made, but we've never had one really based on that really awesome Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon. And don't confuse that with Sonic Underground, that came later. But yeah, so that's just a little background if you aren't aware of just how saturated we were with super cool Sonic media back in the 90s. But Sonic 16 is a cancelled Sonic game developed by Sega Technical Institute and based on Deke's Saturday morning television series Sonic the Hedgehog, also known as Sonic Sat AM. It had larger graphics, a different art style, and a different style of gameplay similar to Prince of Persia and beat-em-up games. The game would have also been more story-driven than previous Sonic titles in order to link it more to the cartoon. It was ultimately cancelled by Yuji Naka, possibly due to the slower-paced gameplay. Yeah, that's real interesting because, what do we know about Sonic? Gotta go fast. But what do we know about this cancelled game? Well, Sonic 16 was a departure from the traditional speed-based Sonic games before. The gameplay was more akin to beat-em-up games with elements of Prince of Persia. Okay, so that's a little opposite of what they said previously. I thought it was going to be more Prince of Persia, but apparently that was a minimal thing, mostly a beat-em-up. And it was less focused on speed. Sonic was given new abilities, such as the ability to climb ledges, and new attacks like Ring Attack, Buzzsaw, and Spike Blast. The enemies would have included SWAT bots and other menacing machines, rather than the badniks of traditional Sonic games. Sally Acorn from Sat AM appeared in the game as well. Yep, that's all. She's the reason that you might associate Sonic with furries. It all started with Sally. Now, on April 12th of 2008, a demo video was uploaded to YouTube by Mondo Mole. The demo advertised the game's state-of-the-art animation and demonstrated its different style of play and Sonic's new moves. It was created by Peter Morawick and John Dugan and copyrighted by Sega Technical Institute of 1993. But other than that, nothing of this game exists. We just have this brief demo video footage that that's it. They never really got around to a playable build, and, I definitely think it might have had trouble selling being so drastically different, but it would have been cool to have gotten a Sonic game based on the television show we all loved. Now, at number 4, we have Twin Peaks, a non-existent cancelled NES role-playing game based on the ABC horror drama series from 1991. I do think it's interesting that some of these games that get cancelled from the 90s were definitely aimed at an older audience at a time where, yes, there were mature-rated games, but ultimately, games were very much the purview of children. I mean, sure, you have like Leisure Suit Larry and Custer's Revenge and all that, but I mean, ultimately these games were games for kids. So to make them not only for more adult properties, but also properties that kids probably weren't interested in, because I mean, I've tried to watch Twin Peaks now. It's freaking weird. I can't see myself having been interested in that in 1991, but let's see why this game didn't get made. So Twin Peaks was a planned 1991 role-playing game that was being developed by High Tech Expressions. It would have been based on the popular ABC TV series of the same name. The game was mentioned in a few gaming magazines of the time, such as Nintendo Power, GamePro, and Game Players. The plot of the game would have been based on Season 2 of the show, with multiple endings possible depending on which character was played. The player would have had the ability to play one of the main characters of the show and try to solve the mysteries of Twin Peaks. It was originally going to come out in 1991, but was cancelled due to a perceived lack of overlap between Twin Peaks fans and NES players. Well, there you go. I guess I was kind of right about that one. Now, on March 29th of 2022, video game journalist Jack Yarwood posted a tweet in which he showcased an email he had previously received from former High Tech Expressions producer Billy Pigeon about the game. In the email, Billy confirmed that the development of the game never went any further than basic discussions of its potential gameplay, with no production material of any sort ever having been produced for it. I feel like back in the day, video game tie-ins were way more popular. One, because games were so easy to make. Like, it took you maybe a year to make a game. That if something came out and was popular, you could make a video game for it very quickly. I feel like a lot of video game pitch meetings back in the day was a bunch of dudes who, may or may not know what kids want, going, all right, guys, what's popular today? What can we make a video game of? And it's like, oh, that Twin Peaks show's getting a lot of watchers. Excellent. Let's make a Twin Peaks game. And they start making it, and they're like, wait a minute. We're Nintendo. We don't make crap like this. None of our demographic probably watches Twin Peaks. What are we going to do? And we're starting with Season 2. Geez, they're not even getting the story from the beginning. They're going to have to have seen Twin Peaks. I definitely think a lot of these, it's funny how so many canceled games come from the fact that they're like, why would we make a game out of this? Certain properties just don't transfer well to kiddie games. So we've been having a lot of fun talking about, video games, but how do you feel about tabletop games and role-playing games? My business, of course, Chimera Miniatures, is a business there where I not only make these fantastic YouTube videos, but I also make custom miniatures that I sell on eBay and Mercari. The two types that I make are my chimeras, which are kit-bashed miniatures made from bits and pieces of various miniatures to be one-of-a-kind custom pieces to add to your tabletop role-playing games. The other kind, going along our route of, wow, clearly these aren't made for kids, well, I make a series of not safe for work HeroClix miniatures. HeroClix, of course, being a tabletop role-playing game that features popular comic book characters. But my customizations, my not safe for work edition, is that the way I repaint these things, rather than seeing them in their super suits, you get to see them in their birthday suits. Add some spice to your session and some titties to your tabletop with Chimera Miniatures not safe for work miniatures, or just add some one-of-a-kind fun with our kit bashes. All of these are handmade and hand-painted by me, so you know that I am offering you quality. I make every piece myself, so if it's not worth selling, I don't put it up for sale. If you'd like to help the channel but you don't feel like buying a mini, I also have channel memberships, Patreon, and tipping options. Links to all of these can be found in the description, and of course be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and pass the videos around to your friends. Your support is what helps keep this channel alive. And with that being said, let's get to that not safe for work piece. Now our fifth and not safe for work piece today is Radio Flyer, non-existent build of a cancelled Super Nintendo movie tie-in game from 1992. When I found this article on the Lost Media Wiki, this is what inspired me to make this entire video of video games that never actually got made. Now, if you've not seen it, Radio Flyer is a movie about two boys who are horribly abused by their stepfather. And in the end, the youngest brother escapes by building himself a working airplane out using his Radio Flyer red wagon. It's a good movie, but it's a dark movie. And I was kind of amazed when I saw the name. I'm like, that can't be what they were gonna make a video game of. Like, okay, but it was, so let's get into this one. Radio Flyer is a canceled flying game that was in development by Ocean for the Super Nintendo based on the 1992 drama movie of the same name. It was scheduled for release sometime in 1992. The game was canceled for unknown reasons, but a possible reason could be that it was based on a movie about child physical abuse. Yeah, that's what I was saying. In an issue of the UK gaming magazine Retro Gamer, it was confirmed by former Ocean employee and artist Brian Flanagan that development for Radio Flyer was axed before it even started. The movie being about child abuse appears to be the reason for its cancellation. The screenshots sent to gaming magazines could possibly have been mock-ups of what the game would have been like. Again, I feel like this is a perfect example of the 90s being a time where games started to be able to look really cool, and as such you could have fun tie-ins and all that. It wasn't just, a series of dots and pixels on a screen. You could really go all out with some of these home console games, and they were trying to entice people to buy the games by linking them with popular properties. And yes, the Radio Flyer movie, great movie. I remember seeing it as a kid going, wow. That's like the idea, like I still, when I think about movies where a child is, abused, and like showing that in a way that like as a kid makes you go, wow, I can't believe some people have to live like this. I think of Radio Flyer. Like it's a very moving drama about these two brothers and their will to survive this horrible situation. I would never have thought to have based a video game on it, let alone one that is just a flying game where you're flying around in the Radio Flyer machine and it's like, yeah, no, this is fun, this is lighthearted. That is not the plot of this movie. I feel like these video game, board members, decision makers, just were trying to throw things at the wall and seeing what stuck. And at the same time, they were dealing with the fact that sometimes they would throw out these ideas and it's like, oh my God, what were we thinking? But so, this game never existed, and if you haven't seen it, go watch Radio Flyer. And that's our video, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. This one was a little different than normal, but, sometimes you just gotta switch things up a little. Maybe for the, volume 30, I'll do pieces that have been found. If you'd like that, let me know in the comments. If you don't want me to do that, let me know in the comments. And again, if you've made it this far, please remember to hit that like button. Let's see if we can get this video 100 likes. That still seems to be something my videos just can't achieve, even if they get 1,000+ views. So please help make my dream come true before the end of the year. Let's get this video 100 likes. With that being said, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank my patrons, both J-Dog and Arthur D. Gonzalez Martin. Again, small legion, but a mighty legion. If you'd like to hear your name shouted out and like to get your name on a scrolling list at the end of every video along with these guys, please be sure to join my Patreon or become a channel member. All of that being said, guys, I'm Mr. Sean, this is Chimera Miniatures, and I hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye!